Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. So for today's video, I thought I'd make a short compilation of all the times that a female pedophile was spared jail time or any other serious consequence purely because they're female. I've got 4 cases for you today that I came across while doing some research for the purpose of making videos, and these cases were all so similar and also very brief, so instead of making a separate video for each of them, I thought I'd just lump them all together into one. It makes more sense, and it also breaks up the style of my videos and introduces some novelty into my channel as well. I will be linking each and every one of these articles down below, by the way, if you did want to read them in full. They're quite brief, but I just figured I'd summarize them for you and spare you the pain. Now, in these cases, I will be taking you across the globe from the corners of Australia all the way to the States. The first case, we find ourselves in the United States in Lowndes County, Georgia. A 44-year-old high school teacher, Phoebe Jo Chapman, pleaded guilty to having sex with 3 of her male students. She was spared any jail time and will not have to register as a sex offender. She was fined $2,000 and was sentenced to 4 years probation. And all she has to do is not contact the victims or anyone in Lowndes County schools. Moving on to case number 2, which takes us all the way to Melbourne, Australia. Now this one's a little bit of a dated case, but she was recently prosecuted for it. A Melbourne music high school teacher, back in 1992, when she was 34 years old, so 28 years ago, which makes her 62 now, pounced on a 15-year-old student in her car, kissing him and touching his genitals. Now, they didn't have sex, or at least no one fessed up to it, but her excuse was that she was lonely and depressed. She was sentenced in 2018 to 8 months in jail, wholly suspended, which means that she never had to serve any time. She said that she bonded with the student when he confided in her that he had been abused by another female teacher at the school. So that's what you do when a student confides in you about being abused by another female teacher, and I'm guessing sexually abused. I mean, the lonely and depressed excuse is pathetic enough. It's just really the icing on the cake, isn't it? McDougal later said she regarded the boy as sexual beyond his years. He was such an impressive person. He seemed like an adult. Except he wasn't an adult, McDougal. He was 15, and you were more than double his age. You were 34. I mean, what does that say about her mental status, about her mental age? If there's one thing I've noticed about these women, it's that they are very mentally challenged and immature, far beneath their years. If an adult is drawn to a child, I don't care how mature you may think that 15-year-old came across, at the end of the day, they were a 15-year-old and there was no way their maturity could have matched that of a 34-year-old. Anyways, let's move on, because if I harp on about every single one of these teachers, we're gonna be here for a while. Next, we depart from Australia and we find ourselves in the US again, very similar to Phoebe. She was 10 years younger, she was 34. She slept with 3 students who were aged 15 and 16. She pleaded guilty and had her 6-month jail term wholly suspended. Note that this woman also had an inappropriate discussion with a 12-year-old boy. She was sentenced to 2 years unsupervised probation and was fined $900. She was also prohibited from teaching for 2 years generally, but for the rest of her life in the locality in which she committed these crimes. Now, hopefully, even though she can technically teach again, every school that she applies to will see her criminal history, which will prevent her from ever being offered a job ever again in schools. Hopefully, fingers crossed, right? But you just never know. Women are just let off. So maybe these schools will think she's rehabilitated. I will tell you that a man wouldn't be allowed to teach ever again if he was ever caught out. I'll also tell you that a man would never be given a suspended jail term. Men, for some reason, the courts like putting them behind bars, but not women, especially when it comes to sexual abuse. Apparently, courts don't think that it's as serious. It doesn't compute in my brain how it's any different to when a man sexually assaults a female student. I mean, a lot of the time, those female students wanted it. You know, like, a lot of people say these boys wanted it. And that's the only reason I'm saying that the reverse applies as well. Most of the time, these girls had a huge crush on that teacher and he took advantage of it, which was of course wrong. But it's the same thing. Just because the child wanted it or thought they wanted it, because we all know that a child doesn't really know what they want, especially when it comes to sex, that doesn't make the crime less of a crime. Courts seem to take into account the fact that, oh, this woman was broken, she was mentally ill, she was mentally disturbed, she was lonely, she was depressed. All these excuses that seem to fly for women, but are never even brought up for men, because I guess everyone involved knows that a judge will never buy these excuses when it's a male abuser. I've got one more case for you, one more case. And that one takes us to Manchester, England. This is what really pisses me off about this case, right? Notice how in the heading and in the opening of the article, a glamorous, they use the word glamorous. There is nothing glamorous about a pedophile. There's nothing glamorous about a criminal, a 30-year-old grown woman who decides to have sex with a 15-year-old. This is part of the problem. The media perpetuates this myth of women are sexy, women are glamorous, and they are femme fatales and every male student's dream. We need to stop. I've never heard of a male teacher being called glamorous or the handsome stud or the stallion. It's just, what is this? Is this like a gossip column about some actor or some glamorous actress walking the red carpet? What are we, this is a crime. This is pedophilia that we're talking about. It's sexual abuse. Get your shit together, media. Jesus. Anyways, so a 30-year-old teaching assistant from Manchester, England, had a sexual relationship with a boy, as I said, half her age, a 15-year-old. She also pleaded guilty, like the rest of the women we talked about, and was spared any jail time. Instead, she had to perform 250 hours of community service and was ordered to pay £100 victim's surcharge. That's all she had to do for basically raping a boy, because you can't give consent if you're a child. What really angers me about these cases is the fact that this sends out a message. And I keep saying this in my videos, this is the problem. I keep saying that this sends out a message to other potential pedophiles out there. It tells them that they too can get away with this. And I'm so sick of repeating myself over and over again, but I guess it's my fault because I keep getting enraged by these stories and I keep choosing to make videos about them, which makes me sound like a broken record. But this isn't the first video about female pedophile teachers that I've made. They are a particular thorn in my side. I'm really starting to think that these women purposely pursue that career to have easy access to their victims. I think these women do have a predilection to be attracted to younger boys, or to be attracted to men who are weaker and more vulnerable and more easily manipulated, the more sensitive type, the type that a manipulative woman can overpower and control. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you think it's justified that these women aren't treated as harshly as men? Like, I honestly want to know, because sometimes maybe it's because I do have a bone to pick with them that I feel like they should be punished more severely. As a lawyer, I feel helpless sometimes. I feel like the law is so mired in these old, archaic, draconian, old-fashioned traditions in which women are never the abusers but the abused, and I'm forced to kind of comply with that old way of thinking. And it drives me absolutely insane to see cases that could so easily be won against women that we cannot win because the police and the courts refuse to take them seriously. And I'm not talking about murder. Murder is the one case in which the justice system seems to take female criminals seriously, which is great news. But as soon as their victim is a man and it's a sexual abuse case or a sexual assault case or even a stalking and harassment case, if it's not death basically, then it's just not serious enough in the eyes of the law at this point in time. And I'm not okay with that. So I'm sorry if I'm like a broken record. I'm going to keep calling out these people and these cases on my channel. And maybe one day things will change and I can stop reporting on them. One can only hope. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe and give it a like. I post 3 times a week, so I won't keep you hanging and I won't keep you waiting. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in a future video.